Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
And it was awesome to have all of us in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you were a lot taller than I remembered, and Mark was a lot shorter. Is how it comes to me.
Jim, you were a lot fatter. You were a lot fatter than I remember, and that was like just 2 weeks ago in Portland. So how you like that?
Adam Gilson, welcome to FoosTalk Live.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, a real honor, and I really appreciate you brought me in on a night that Mark's not here.
Yeah. It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 65th episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you by Inside Foos, offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, plus live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Sign up now at InsideFoos.com. Also brought to you by ProtectoFlex, the world's premier safety accessory. Go to protecto.flash.com. Brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com. Brought to you by Foosballers, the movie. This Joe Hessling of Foosball documentary, now available as a worldwide download at foosballersthemovie.com. And brought to you by USTSO, helping you to usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member at usafoosball.com. And brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the United States. Visit foosballclubsusa.com to make a donation today. It's Sunday. You know what that means? We're back on live with FoosTalk Live. I'm Tom Robinson. A pleasure to have you along. Well, once again, we're going to be chatting about the great game, foosball. We love talking about this, and of course, conversation is so much better when you have someone to share it with. That includes the world's greatest foosball play-by-play announcer, Jim Stevens, all the way from California tonight. Hey, Jim.
Yeah. Nice to hear your voice, Tom. We've got a full house tonight. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Number 65. That's hard to believe. With this little show that with our little baby is now grown up. How about that? I'm out in Thousand Oaks, California, on a beautiful day, a 90-degree day. Looking forward to spending the week at the beach out here in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area. So, it's summertime, and the living is easy.
Yes, it is indeed. And now, providing play-by-play action from his 10th fasting session in 2021, all the way from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. It's Mr. Mark Torres. Hello, Mark.
La, 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 la,
Or do I mean, is that Stevie Wonder? Sorry.
My Sherry, pretty little one that I had. No, what? Yes, I'm back.
Love it.
Yeah, in tune, no less. In tune. Love it.
There's a joke here to be made about Toro at a tournament, something about blind drunk, but I'm going to leave that one alone. Well done, though, sir. Well done. Just Stevie Wonder, not easy to do. Not easy.
He's in tune, I got to say. He is actually in tune.
That and Celine Dion's the other one. In China, when I lived there, we did karaoke, and I was drunk one time. I was drunk.
Once?
And this
What?
gal decided she was going to sing the theme song to Titanic, and I decided I was going to follow her, and I sang it right after her, which is a double taboo. But hey, that's how I roll, baby. That's how I
Those
thought.
high notes. I'm wondering about the high notes, but if you take it down an octave or two, perhaps you could you could have handled the mark.
There's no video of this event. So
None.
That serves me. I can
Is
say
that a bad
wonderful.
thing? Yeah, that's not a bad thing. I don't think.
Wonderful.
It's those historic moments we want to catch on film. We got to have that for all eternity, just for your kids, of course.
Hey, by the way, Mark, good to hear your voice. Good to get back with you on a Sunday evening. It's been a while, I think, since we've actually been in the same place, or at least at the same time here at FoosTalk Live. So good to hear your voice. Good to be with you.
Yeah. And
What's the national? Oh, wait, did we give proper platitudes to the nationals? Is that what
platitudes?
I'm not sure we did. Yeah.
It's
What a great event that was. I mean,
it
here we
was.
are, 4 weeks later, and we're still kind of feeling the buzz from it. What a great event put on by Mary Moore, IFP. Great matches. Of course, the classic one that you can see at InsideFoos.com with Sparky and Serge. going up against Terry Rue and Kevin Romero. What a classic match that was.
Right.
There's actually a highlight at YouTube, on the Inside Foos TV YouTube channel, if anyone would like to go have a look at that.
Stunning.
But, yeah, I agree, Mark. What a great event that was.
Yeah, it was. There was a coming out party for Brandon Munoz. It was Kevin Romero took third in open doubles at that tournament, and that was exciting. Of course, Serge and James crawled into the finals of that event.
Somehow, right?
Well, it was kind of unfortunate because they played two back-to-back. Well, they played three back-to-back matches. The two matches before that with Brandon and Carlos at fourth to get to third.
Right.
And that was that went into overtime. It was like 8-6 or 8-7. And then they played the barn burner with the Kevin and Terry, which went 8-7 overtime.
Yeah,
and then
it was
they
astounding.
immediately played the finals. And I don't know where I don't know if Robert and Tony came out of a cot somewhere on the 14th floor of the hotel. They just kind of sauntered down and wiped the floor with James and Serge. But James and Serge, man, we talked after the match. I spent a lot of time with them that weekend. Actually, here's the before we segue. I was in the booth. If you didn't hear it yet, I was in the booth for like 3 balls. And I said, I can't do this. I can't be objective.
Never heard that before.
I felt like it would be unfair to everybody because I was such a homer. And I decided to walk out of the booth. Adam took
tapped
over.
out. He tapped out. Yeah.
Adam took over and did a tremendous job. But what people don't know is I spent an hour with Serge before that match, preparing him for that match. And there's some insight. I don't know if now's the proper time because I'll just take over the first 30 minutes of the show. But I gave Serge some insight that he used, and it worked so well for him that he's excited to come back and compete at the next tournament. So anyway,
cool.
I could the end net of it was I could not sit in the booth and be an objective observer and be a critical thinker, and so I tapped out. And it was good faith for the audience and the fans of the show. And then Adam took over, did a great job. Anyway,
Speaking
two
of
things
which,
on that from me. 2 things on that from me. And one thing about if you've watched Serge and James, seemingly all the tournaments they play in, each match they get a little better. They get better. You watch them early in the weekend, and you're like, maybe they'll take 7th if they're lucky. But they keep getting better. They keep making adjustments. That's the one thing I always see with that team, and what a credit to them. And that is, and of course, the second place finish at the Nationals, also tremendous. The other thing is how, and I'm being honest here, how both Serge and Sparky listen to Mark Torres. I'm over there watching him, right? He's over on one side coaching, he's pacing up and down, and then during a timeout, they come over and they listen to him. And they immediately implement what he says. Now, say what you will about Mark Torres, and you can say a lot, but the man knows his foosball. He really does, and certainly it was beneficial to both Sparky and Serge in that event. So, good job, Mark. Yeah,
no, I would love to get in depth about that whole process of leaving the broadcast booth, going out on the play floor, jumping in, and as a coach and as a fan, I've never seen that happen before in any sport. That was pretty astounding.
And it's nice to have a nice guy off the bench like Adam Gilson to step in. This was Adam's debut event, and he was fantastic. Of course, he's now becoming a regular. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he might be on the show tonight.
I think we can give him a formal introduction. What do you think?
Yep.
And finally, the most recently crowned new kid on the block for play-by-play foosball at Inside Foos. Here we go. Here's Adam Gilson. Welcome, Adam, from Portland, Oregon. Adam, you there? He's
the rookies always mute and then forget to unmute.
Oh,
there he is.
I know. I had to take a nap while Mark was talking, and I didn't want to. I didn't want my snoring.
And it starts.
Mark, are you gonna sing me in with some New Kids on the Block? Do you know any step by step?
I do. There's one I can't remember the damn song, and I don't know. I get NSYNC and New Kids on the Block mixed up. Never mind.
Yeah,
dude.
well, we all do. Okay. Well, anyways, no, it's a pleasure to be here. I had a whole spiel that I said while I was muted, so let's just pretend it was great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love it. I love it. So it starts. Oh, yes, of course. Well, Adam, it is a great pleasure to know that not only does Inside Foos now have a deeper bench when it comes to play-by-play announcers, and man, you're jumping right in with both feet, but also now you're filling out the shall we say the lineup here on FoosTalk Live, which we greatly appreciate.
Oh yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I've been listening to your show since you started, and really enjoy all the work you've been doing. And it's just so amazing that this is the 65th. So episode.
65th episode of the live
that's
version.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Of the live version. Wow.
Yeah. So altogether we have over 92 episodes of Foosball Radio and Inside Foos or FoosTalk Live. So yeah, technically speaking, we're
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's
Look,
great.
and tonight I guess we're doing an Ask Me Anything. I guess there are questions that we're all up there kind of have a round table here and address the different things. And before we get going, I do have a couple of things I wanted to touch on.
Sure.
Of course, I want to remind everybody we're less than 2 weeks out from the Bart O'Hearn celebration down in Austin, Texas, July 29th through August 1st at the Radisson Hotel there on I-35 in Austin. It's going to be an amazing event. Obviously this is an event that has great play, but also the Fallen Foozer ceremony on Saturday night. And we have 55 names that I will be reading that night in the ceremony.
Wow.
With many of the family members there. And as we remember and honor these Fallen Foozers and some really historic names. So that's one thing I want to remind everybody. Of course, Tornado Championships coming up September 1st through 6th in Lexington, Kentucky, IFP and company running that one. That's going to be exciting. Some Inside Foos news. A new release tomorrow, new On the Table with Chase Pennell, talking with James Sparky Castillo, the aforementioned one. We'll have that releasing tomorrow at InsideFoos.com. That's a lot of fun. And also, we'll have an ITSF every Wednesday. We release a new video from the ITSF archives as well, whether it's World Cup, World Championship, always great matches. We'll have that on Wednesday at InsideFoos.com. We're up to over 1,000 individual matches now.
Wow.
Shows, original programming, historic stuff, new stuff at InsideFoos.com. So if you don't have a subscription yet, head on over there, get your subscription. Best deal in foosball with an incredible amount of ever-growing content available for you. All right.
Man, fantastic. Just fantastic. So I know that all this talk, of course, about upcoming competition is always tends to work up a thirst. So let's see how we solve that.
What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA.
So Jim, let's dive right in here. And since you're in California, do you have a California IPA tonight?
I've got more than that. I went super local. I went to a local brewery called Tarantula Hill Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
In Thousand Oaks, California. And I'm having their Thousand Oaks IPA. It's a new age West Coast IPA with Mosaic, Amarillo, and Simcoe hops. They shine throughout with big tropical notes of mango, lemon, and berries up front, and a touch of citrus, piney, and orange notes as well.
Ooh.
A small percent of light crystal in the malt profile provides the backbone. All right, let's have a sip.
Light crystal.
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, I can taste that Simcoe hop. Yes, delicious.
Shade grown, east side of the hill.
And he's surviving. Okay, all
It's
right.
all about that black tar ganja when I was in high school.
That's another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And by the way, there are more than 1,000 oaks in Thousand Oaks, by the way. All right. What Adam, are you having an IPA tonight?
Oh, yeah. As you know, I'm up in Oregon right now, and I wanted to go local, too. And, I'm a neophyte in this whole IPA business, so I've been doing research to see what kind of IPAs I might like. And I has found the hazy IPAs to be kind of fun. So I found a Hopworks Urban Brewery out of Portland, and it's their hazy IPA Robot Panda. And it is, let's see here. Oh, wow. It is citrusy, light, and refreshing. I don't know nearly as many words as Jim, but that's what I got going for me right now.
Not bad for a start, for a beginner.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Citrusy.
Tom, you drinking? You drinking tonight, Tom?
Of course. And I'm actually going back to one that I've tried before, but it's an oldie but a goodie. And it's from Lord Hobo Brewery and their glorious IPA. A 6.5%. It's not a double, but it is juicy, tropical, elegant, and so delicious. So let's pop the top and see what happens here. Yes, here we go. Oh yeah, it is elegant. It is juicy. It is tropical. Lord IPA. It's the glorious IPA from Lord Hobo, and you should probably drink it in a brown paper bag.
Wow.
All right, and Mark, what have you?
Milk.
An orange LaCroix, so it is also citrusy.
Is it room temperature? I'm sure it's room temperature, right?
It has the desired effect.
That's all I need, you guys. I don't drink on Sundays because the Lord.
The Lord Hobo.
The Lord Hobo.
Hobo is the way to go. All right, so we do have an honor group of the week we want to toast. Okay, guys, lift your glass. We're going to toast our honor group of the week, which is Michigan Foosball State Tournament, which is coming up October 22nd through the 24th in Lansing, Michigan. It's Michael Stahl and company. They're bringing it back. It's been a while since Michigan State Foosball has been a thing. It's been a while, I think. I don't know exactly how many years, but Michael.
No, our good friend Michael Stahl doing such a great job up there with making sure that things stay alive, making sure that things continue to move forward up in the state of Michigan. Kudos to Michael and everyone up there in that great state of Michigan with such a history up there. Tony Bacon, the great Tony Bacon, originally from our good friend Tony Bacon, originally from the state of Michigan, among others.
Yeah, no, it's here's to you guys. Cheers and many happy returns. Yeah, Michigan State.
So
I know.
Here's to you guys.
I know there's.
You guys really lift up your drink and toast, right?
Of course.
Yeah, we actually did. Yeah,
that's what I do too. Mark, you lifted up your LaCroix.
Yeah.
Okay.
To my mouth.
Well,
dude, these guys, they've already taken 4 sips in like 10 seconds. These guys like to get hammered. They get like wrecked. Like 40 minutes in, they're wrecked.
No, man,
I know.
I'm
glad you're the voice of reason, Mark.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Adam? What did you say?
He Venmo'd me $10 to say that. So
okay, I wondered. He is quick on that Venmo.
He is quick on that.
Pretty cheap. Adam was real cheap.
Oh yeah, no. I like to think
day.
Economical.
Yeah, economical. I like it. We like economical here in FoosTalk Live. So guys, I know that we've got some things coming up in the near horizon. I just want to look out in the distance a little bit, and not only Michigan State, but also the world's record number of foosball players playing in a given 24-hour period, which is coming up August 26th through 27th. This is something that's going to begin in Germany with the guys from Kickern.
Yeah, that's true. I know Mark's been integrally involved with this, and it's something that we are going to cover at Inside Foos. A single day record, if we can, of most foosball players ever playing during a 24-hour period. And I think, Mark, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, so there's incredible support for foosball in Western Europe, and Germany is the tip of the spear for it, and they have an initiative for this world record attempt, and they're inviting anyone who plays foosball that can coordinate an organized tournament to participate in it. So the beauty of this is if we do it every year, we could break our own record.
Right.
And in the blink of an eye, I can make claims about being a world champion and a world record holder a dozen times. So this is all about me, you guys. I need you guys to participate in this. No. Inside Foos is, and here's the beauty of it too. By the way, we're missing the German National Championships is coming up the same weekend as the Bordeaux.
Oh.
And Inside Foos is supporting the coverage of that as well. And so Inside Foos is kind of in all kinds of different things, but hand in hand, this world record attempt, the German National Championships, if you guys didn't see it on Facebook, what they do in Europe, most places in Europe, is they look at the number of tables they have, they decide how many doubles teams they can have, and they work backward, and they open registration. So they open registration for 450 players, and they close registration in like 40 minutes.
No kidding.
Max capacity.
Yeah, for the German championships.
The German championship, yes.
Okay.
So that's happening in the same weekend as Bordeaux. We're going to be supporting the coverage for that, but and that's in tandem with this world record attempt. So a lot happening in foosball and Inside Foos and FoosTalk Radio, and Adam and Jim and our team, all of us, were in the middle of it. It's really fun to think about.
Yeah, one of the things we are finding, and Mark mentioned the German championships and the Barrow Hearn celebration being held on the same weekend. As we go closer to next year's World Cup, we are kind of in this condensed 1-year period of having to get as many tournaments in as possible in order to qualify players from around the world. So we're going to find situations where there are going to be 2 major championship tournaments, and there's one big one on the horizon of a weekend that it's going to be like that. But we're going to find this a lot where there's multiple tournaments going on, and in some cases, Inside Foos is going to be covering more than one tournament for a weekend. So a lot of exciting stuff, a lot of busy stuff, a lot of international stuff, especially now that Europe has opened up, starting with last week's event in Austria. So just so much ahead for foosball fans. And if you want to be right on the edge, and I don't want to continue to beat this dead horse, but subscribe to Inside Foos because we are going to be dead center in the middle of all of this.
Right. Now, one of the things that I noticed today, I was able to download an app for my phone called Let's Foos.
Yeah.
And this is all tied in. I believe that app is one you want to have in order to participate in this world record. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, absolutely. It's a much. It's Let's Foos, Comb Kickern, which shows locations. It allows you to connect. And that's really the key to this event that's upcoming. It's the connection that all these different locations are going to have around the world. And kind of picture this. We are going to be attempting to cover this based on live streams that are fed to us from locations all around the world, starting in Germany at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock Central European time. And then as the world revolves and as different locations begin to have their tournaments all the way into Asia, then all the way around the world, coming back towards North America, et cetera, we are hopefully going to be covering, coverage of that from different locations all around the world. And so it's going to be a challenge. We're looking forward to it. We're not 100% sure how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to make a go at it for sure.
I think it's going to be exciting. I just can't wait. Now, of course, I know the guys here at 518, we're going to be jumping on the bandwagon and definitely registering for that time through Let's Foos, and we're going to be playing. There's no doubt about it.
That's super.
So I'm interested if anybody out there, of course, is listening, who's also going to be doing this. Send us your information. Where are you going to be playing? What are you going to be doing to help us push the, shall we say, the number one game in the world? Right? We're going to be playing more people playing at the same time than ever before. Hold that world record and each year try and top it. But I'm predicting. I think I said this before. I'm predicting 30,000 worldwide.
Holy smokes! That's a great number.
It's a huge number.
Got to think big.
I'm excited. Yeah, no, I love it.
Cool. Well, guys, we have some things to do tonight. We have our top 5 and, of course, our Ask Me Anything feature. But, of course, we want to take a look back in history first.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live Flashback.
Here we go. Tracy McMillin looking for the national title from pole shot position. Trying to stroke that long, went wide of the goal. Sometimes it's difficult coming out of that goalie position, being able to execute right off the back. Once again, McMillin. Stokes it home to the long hold. Dave Gummeson, Tracy McMillin are the 2003 National Open Doubles champions. What a great performance by these two classy gentlemen. An overpowering finals performance in 3 straight games over Mike Philbrook and Greg Perry.
Great performance by all players here, pit table number 1.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live Flashback.
So the legendary pair of McMillin and Gummeson, of course, 2003 winning the Open Doubles. I got to say, I've played against and with Mike Philbrook, and if you can beat that guy, man, you've got something going because
super talent. Yep.
Yeah.
That was Gummeson and McMillin's first ever win together as a team. They had just paired up a year or two before that. And up in Minneapolis, in Dave Gummeson's hometown, they were able to win that Open Doubles championship. They came back the next year and went back to back at the Nationals, won another national championship later, of course, 3 world championships as well. One of the legendary teams in the history of the sport. And that 2003 event, I can't believe it, 18 years ago. That is crazy. But it was a great event at the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Minneapolis. We're going to be releasing all of the videos that we have from that event in the next week or so at InsideFoos.com, including performances from Adrian Zamora and Todd Lafredo and Robert Mares, Tony Sprademan, young Tony Sprademan. This was just a matter of months before Tony won his first world championship. Billy Pappas was there as well, as he was starting to really make his name as a ProMaster player as well. So look for that at InsideFoos.com. What a great memory that is.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And if this, of course, continues to be the trend, we're going to have to live an extra 100 years just to view all the videos on Inside Foos. So not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's something to shoot for sure.
So, guys, I know that we've had a lot of discussions prior to the show this evening about our top 5. So, Jim, what is it we're going to do when it comes to our top 5?
We thought long and hard. We spent the entire week kind of preparing for this one. But we came up with the top 5 rods. In other words, you think back on great players. What was their strongest rod? What was it better than someone else's 5 rod? Some better than someone else's 2 rod or 3 rod or whatever.
Was it longer? Was it faster?
Right. Well,
exactly. And so, just the top 5 foosball rods of all time. We're going with that.
Well, here we go. Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres and Adam Gilson joining in the fray tonight as well.
Yeah, 3 times 5 is 15. This should be a lot of fun. And again, always it's how we all individually view these things. And so it always makes it kind of interesting. That doesn't mean we're right, doesn't mean we're wrong. But it's kind of interesting to come at it from different angles. So top 5 foosball rods. Let's do this.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
Am I going to start?
You're going to
start.
You are.
I'm starting. Yeah. Okay,
rookie.
here's number 5.
Rookie
with this new thing. Okay, here we go. Number 5. I'm going to take you back to some rural nowhere place where somebody's playing foosball with a hollowed out log, and they got their rod in there that's probably from some transmission from a truck.
Yeah.
Just listen. Just slamming pull shots using ball bearings the size of BBs going through the back of the box.
Ooh.
I'm going to say number 5 for me, 3-bar Zeke Mullins.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's it? That's all you got?
I love the intro.
What else do you want?
That just says it all. You're right. Zeke Mullins.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's it. I mean, everybody that doesn't know needs to know.
Yeah.
Zeke Mullins. Look him up. The legend of.
The legend.
Right.
Yeah.
Fooswiki. All right. Here we go. My number 5. It's a thing of terror. And the reason why it's a thing of terror is because he's fearless. Now, some of these guys that could crank the ball from the 2-bar, they hesitate, frankly. They hit the ball so hard that they don't want to go -1. They don't want to get stuffed. And a lot of guys are like that. Guys that can be tentative over the middle, like Lafredo, right? Lafredo can do anything, but that guy doesn't want to get stuffed. He wants to clear the ball, so he'll take care of the ball. But there's a guy out there that doesn't give a damn. He'll plant that thing right over the middle faster and harder. And I've seen masters look up in absolute disbelief when he's shooting. Like he hits 2 or 3 in a row. I'm talking about Ryan Moore's 2-rod at number 5. This dude is a freak phenomenon. And I've watched a match with him. I guess it was against Murray and someone else. I can't remember. It was 2 world champ masters. And Murray was just cranking. Ryan was cranking the ball from the 2-bar. No one knew where it was going. He was like, you got to watch it in slow motion. It was hard to track in slow motion where the ball is going. My number 5, Ryan Moore's 2-bar.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And you too, Adam. Zeke Mullins, the best player I never saw. And of course Ryan Moore, obviously, just shockingly good. But my number 5, and I had to get him in here somewhere. My number 5 is Frederick Colignone's 3-rod, and for a couple of reasons. Obviously, as smart of a shooter as you've ever seen, of course. Very quick to the hole, very smart to the holes, able to fake people off of the holes, but also the fact that he was able to come over to the American style of table, the tornado, with a European shot, a shot that had been developed over 50 or 75 years in Europe, bring it over to this table, which before that, and maybe even after that, no one else could shoot this shot with great success, yet he was able to. And again, it's a mental thing. And again, I had to get Colignon on this list. But his 3-rod to me, and you could have put his 5 on there. You could have put his 2 to the 5 perhaps as well. But for me, Frederick Colignon, what he did with a pin shot on the tornado table on his 3-rod puts him at number 5 for me.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
It floats like a butterfly. It stings like a bee. It's Peggy Fleming with a little foosball man. It's so many options that you think that this kid has got his brain connected to Wikipedia because you don't know what the database is. And I've been watching it for 20-something years, and I have no idea what's going to happen next. And I don't believe actually he does either. But I'm going to say for me, number 4 is the 5-row of Trevor Park. I love watching it. I love watching it in slow motion and fast motion, doesn't matter. And if I lose to anybody, so 5, I'm just happy it'd be his, because it is just so dynamic and phenomenal to watch, especially in his prime.
Yeah, that's good. I like Trevor's 5-bar too. If any reason why Trevor wouldn't be on my list, it held up better at sometimes than others. When he was playing against me, he would just, it was like hot knife through butter. But my number 4 is Tony Spreadman's 5-bar. And I love that 5-bar for a couple reasons. One of them is, if you grew up playing when I did in the late 80s, early 90s, people told you couldn't do that. You can't do that. There's not enough finesse. Brush passes way to go, slower, softer passes. And for the most part, I tried. Like, I tried to catch passes like that. I catch them with maybe, I don't want to exaggerate, it's not that good. It's hard to catch those passes. Tony has a way to consistently catch those passes. I don't know how. I need to ask him, how the hell do you do that? As a matter of fact, everyone should ask him, but he does something to catch. No one should be in the right mind should be able to catch every single one of those passes with the speed and the ferocity which he executes them. So my number 4, Tony Spreadman's 5-bar.
Yeah, no, Trevor Park. Of course, I grew up with Trevor, or he grew up around me down in Southern California. Had a chance to see that 5-row develop into something that was, pretty close to magic. I do not have Trevor in my top 5. Interesting too that so far Mark Torres has Ryan Moore and Tony Spreadman at 4 and 5. Okay, and so for me, number 4 is in this guy again. We could have put his 2-rod on there, but I'm putting his 3-rod on there, and I'm talking about Billy Pappas. Billy Pappas's 3-rod, whether it's a pull shot, whether it's a snake shot, whether it's a quick push kick or pull kick, whatever it is, it's wicked, right? I mean, we've always talked about how when you hear a shot across the room that sounds like a big gunshot of 45 or something, you go, hey, there's Pappas. Pappas is here. But his 3-rod, just remarkable. The consistency wasn't always there, but when it was unstoppable. His ability to pick the right hole at the right time, probably a little underrated because you're mesmerized by his speed and his power. But the 3-rod of Billy Pappas, obviously the 2-rod made our top 5 as well. But I guess you could say the right arm of Billy Pappas. But in particular, his 3-rod, incredibly dynamic, incredibly fast, maybe the most talented player we've ever seen. And so for me, number 4, Billy Pappas's 3-rod.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Well, I want to talk about impact. Impact for me, impact for other lady players out there, and the provenance of somebody that has been able to, I don't know, just, I don't want to say change the face of sport for lady players out there, but definitely, I don't know, winning her own, and I'll give it away by saying this, but winning open mixed as a forward, a lady forward, and Moya Thielens in her 3-bar, and I've had the opportunity over the years, or had the opportunity to play with her many times, goalie or forward with her, and just watching her 3 was always just so magnetic for me. So for me, it's Moya's 3 at number 3.
All right. No, last time I played Moya, she drilled me. I tried to race her, she crushed me. I appreciate that choice at number 3. My number 3 is Billy's 2-bar. I think I had Billy's 2-bar at number 1 when we did best 2-rods. That top 5 was months ago, right? But Billy's 2-rod is what Ryan has over Billy is Ryan's fearlessness to shoot over the middle. What Billy has over Ryan is Billy is laterally faster than Ryan, and if you're at a high enough level, you'll see it. Ryan for sure hits the ball at least as hard, if not harder. But Billy has the Tiger Woods stroke. That stroke that he's from a kid, and it's just gotten more and more smooth and more clean. If you see it up close, that ball vanishes. He could put that ball when he's hot. He has a thing he did on this one of the foosball pages. He sets up the bar, dead bar, from the dead bar on the back, and he shoots 3 dead bar pull shots from the 2-bar in a row, and does it like it's like he woke up in the morning. He could just do that. I just the guy's 2-rod, having played with him and seen it up close, I could tell you it's magic. It's unreal. And when he was in his prime, remember, he won 4 open singles world championships in 6 years. He did that all over the place, but his 2-rod was terrifying. He crushed the best singles players in the world on a run, maybe an unrivaled run for a 6-year period in singles. And he did it primarily from his 2-rod. So Billy Papp is 2-rod as my number 3.
Yeah, I had his 3-rod on here, but his 2-rod, you're right, it's spectacular. And I think, hit the releases on his shot. You mentioned the lateral speed. Certainly, you're right on that. But also, they're more compact. The backswing maybe isn't as high as Ryan Moore's.
Right.
I watched Billy on multiple tables. I remember a Garlando World Championship. I talked about this on the air with Adam last week, I think. But I saw him win a Garlando World Championship where he was scoring 3 a game from the 2-rod on Garlando, which you can do. But really, only he can do like that. But for me, I've got Ryan Moore at number 3. And again, I did not have Ryan as my number 1 shooting goalie. I think I went with Tracy McMillin just because of how Tracy had done it in some of the biggest matches ever. But for me, when you're talking about Superman on the 2-rod, when you're talking about Nolan Ryan, when you're talking about seeing this physical freak, the things that Ryan Moore can do, how long he can pull that ball, how fast, the way he raises that elbow up, the way he can crank those banks with authority and consistently, the pulls, the pull kicks, everything else, he'll also throw in that little short, which he just has used time and time again to just kill Tony Spredeman. That little dink to the corner where he takes his time and he sets you up with that big 1 foot wide pull shot and then just that little tuck to the corner. But for me, just in terms of how spectacular it is, how athletic it is, how powerful it is, again, Nolan Ryan on a foosball table, right? It's Ryan Moore for me. Number 3, it's Ryan Moore's 2-rod.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
So this is a offensive 3-bar in my number 2 slot, but it's a tandem thing. It's not just about the offense that's done with the 3-bar, but it also has another component, and it's the trash talk component to it. And for me, number 2, Terry Rue's Funzy 2-ball rollerball 3-bar is a thing of beauty. Terry Rue's the sweetest, kindest person. He would take his shirt off and put it over a puddle for you. But you play 2-ball rollerball with him, and you just go home and cry, or at least that's what my wife said when I went home. So that's for me. Number 2 is 2-ball rollerball Terry Rue's Funzy 3-bar. Thank you.
That push kick. We saw it at the Nationals, man. I played him in rollerball. It's ridiculous. When he gets hot, and go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say, I know that I'm on a roll here with these because every single person I mentioned, Mark says slaughtered him. So I know I'm doing good. Trevor's got your fun. Yeah, so we're good. Anyway, so go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Dude, it's a big list of people that slaughtered me, by the way.
I know.
I
know. Well, it is only an hour-long show, so.
And it's a big list of things that are all about Mark as well, as apparently each of yours so far has been. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I relate everything to me. Terry Rue's 2-bar or 3-bar.
Yeah, it's sick, isn't it?
All right. Yeah. All right. Are we number 2? We're number 2 right now, right? Because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
This number 2. Okay.
Come on, Mark. You've had all week to put this list together. Come on.
Yeah. My number 2 is this guy's look it, man. Let's be real. There's something anomalous about Lafredo's right arm. I don't know what the hell the guy does. The guy's pull shot still looks freaking amazing. Now, if you saw it in the 90s, you know that he's lost pace, but it's still it's a stunning piece of work still. He can still get way behind the ball. He has a perfectly compacted stroke. It's dead bar. He still crushes people with it. He still can still get to the quarters and semifinals of open singles, and he's 60 years old. Give me a break, man. The dude's 3-rod is stood the test of time for we going on 5 decades now. He's able to score on he could score on anybody for 5 decades. He got to the finals of open singles in the Foosballers documentary against Tony Spredeman. That was like 4 years ago or whatever. So let's give credit where credit's due on a limb that seems to be and he's heard it so many times. He's got shoulder issues, wrist problems. Guy's a freak, complete freak. There's no way I couldn't have Lafredo's 3-rod on this list. So Lafredo's 3-rod is at number 2.
Yeah, the limb of Lafredo is impressive, and I feel a little guilty about not having him in my top 5. How could I not, right? But again, I had all week to think about this, and that's the conclusion I came to. For me, and Terry Rue, and you mentioned it, Adam. It's not just, incredible speed, the skill, obviously a lot of table time, but it's joyousness at doing it as well. Yeah. It's enthusiasm, it's infectious. You just smile every time, even if he's scoring on you.
Yeah, right.
It is just so much fun. But for me, I'm going back in time, man. Number 2 for me, the legend. I had a chance to see him play a couple of different times, and the legend it lives up to what actually happened. And that's Jim Wiswell. The 3-rod of Jim Wiswell. I mean, it's talked about from that era, from the 70s, from the tournament soccer era. It was the best rod, right? It was the best 3-rod that anybody had ever saw. And even if it wasn't, it's been built up as if it was. But I saw him play. It was his whole body. It was this explosiveness, and the sweat would fly off his brow, and this thing would just boom, right? And for me, the legends oftentimes are bigger than maybe what really happened. And you look at his record, it was certainly exceptional, certainly first ballot Hall of Fame type stuff. You hear people talk about, what it was like, as I just did, watching this guy shoot the ball. But for me, number 2, historic foosball perspective, for me, Jim Wiswell, his 3-rod for me is at number 2.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1.
So at number 5, I listed Zeke Mullins, who of course is a fictional character created in the 70s.
What?
Yeah,
what?
I know. There's no Santa Claus either, but anyway. But yeah, I know. This is a hard Sunday for all of you. But let me just, yeah. But like all fictional characters and people like that are put into the mythos of any kind of game, the Babe Ruths, well, he's real. But you know what I mean. Any of the people like that you
Casey
talk about,
at the bat would be the example.
Casey
there.
at the bat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim, for upstaging me. I'm gonna go home. But anyways, the point. All right. The point is this: is that those are the people that live on. You hear about them. They talk about them in the dark corners of recesses of your mind, and people know about it. And they talk about it, and they talk about how it would. Right. No, it would reverberate in your teeth when you hear certain people shoot, or the screaming, shouting that they would incorporate into it. And I had the chance to see a video of this once, but I only ever heard about it from all the old-timey Foosters that talked about it in hushed, dark corners. But I'm going to say Billy Sumption's karate kick, pull kick is, for me, number 1 on his 3. Because I grew up hearing stories about it. It was Little Red Riding Hood and Billy Sumption's 3-bar. Don't let the big bad wolf get you. So for me, Sumption, number 3.
That is
1.
awesome. You went way back there, buddy. You went way back, mid-70s. Yep. Very nice.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. Anyways, Mark, did he beat you ever?
Yeah, he got me. He got me. I was 7, and he showed up at the arcade, and he said, "Hey, I'm effing Billy Sumption. Check out my pull kick." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, man. I'll check it out." And then he scored on me, and then I went on. Okay,
wow.
That checks. That tracks.
It tracks. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes. All right. My number 1. I saw this guy play. I played against this guy.
Of course you did.
Yes, I did. And I got to see him at all stages of his career until it winded way down. And I got to talk to him. And so it's not all mythos, but I would take this guy's 5-bar in the clutch, any passing situation, if I had to choose, and it's offense and defense. It's because he had in his mind, he knew he was going to get the ball. He was always setting you up for the next thing. All this nuance. He was always anticipating. He was always in front of you. And I love I'm fascinated by the players that did the most with the least. And one of those guys that falls into it for me is, and this is not about Tony Spreadman. I'm going to get to my number 1, but Tony Spreadman will tell you himself he's not the most talented guy. He will tell you that Ryan Moore and Billy Pappas can do things he cannot do, and Tony Spreadman will tell you he has to compensate for that with hard work and being a smarter player. He's proud of that fact, and he's very self-aware that he doesn't have the same skill set that these other players have. And I love that player. I love the player who wins and does more than the next guy who has more opportunity and ability. Anyway, my number 1 is Tom Spear.
Cool, dude.
Offense and defense. Yeah, offense and defense. Tom Spear gets it done. He's the turtle 5-bar that he gets the ball on 4-4. He's been in the biggest matches. I've watched him win open singles. I watched him play in the finals of open doubles. Tom Spear, number 1, hands down, 5-bar. Tom Spear.
Yeah, I 100% knew you were going to go with Tom Spirit number 1, so I intentionally left him off my list, as I did with Lafredo, knowing what you would put him on there as well. I often do that. I react to what you do, Mark. You know,
No, it's all about me.
oftentimes. If I was going first on this list, I would have no idea what to do.
I know.
But no, obviously the 5-row spear, incredible. The feel, the touch. But for me, I'm breaking it down to math, and I think that Clay Toomey would probably back a lot of this up. You talk about Tony Spredeman. You talk about the 3-rod of Tony Spredeman. Certainly very good. Certainly great, right? Are we talking about it as an all-time top 5 3-rod? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think there's ever been a more influential rod in the history of foosball than Tony Spredeman's 5. I think it is the most impactful of any rod that anybody has ever played on any foosball table anywhere. Because of the opportunities it gets him, it allows him to shoot a little lower percentage than most other players because he gets that ball so consistently, so much. You talked about it early, Mark, in this list that you would never train anybody to play that way. You can't do that, as you said, and most players outside of Tony and maybe Tommy York can't. You can't do it. It takes way too much table time, way too many far too many repetitions, etc. But when it comes down to impacting victories, winning over losing, in my opinion, and I think Clay would back this up based on his stats, and Clay always is making sure we are sticklers for that stuff. But to look at a guy that passes it better than 50% consistently, in the high 50% consistently, no one else does. To look at how important the 5-row is in the grand scheme of things when it comes to foosball. Is there an argument that maybe it's the most important thing? I don't know that there is an argument. I think it is the most important thing, is getting that ball. And because Tony doesn't shoot from the 2-row, of course, the 2 to the 5 is a high percentage play. The 3-rod of Tony Spredeman, again, excellent. But all-time great? I don't know. The 5-row of Tony Spredeman, to me, the most impactful, the most important, the biggest contributor to victories in the history of foosball. For me, number 1 is Tony Spredeman's 5-row.
Wow.
I won. I loved winning.
No,
By the way, smashed you.
Oh, man, I closed strong there, buddy.
Hold
strong.
I'm sorry, guys, but this is an unprecedented moment in FoosTalk Live history.
What?
Because
2 in a row.
No. Adam just edged you guys out. I mean, his presentation.
Zeke Mullins and Billy Sumption. How can we stop Billy? How can we top Billy Sumption?
Thoughts. I mean, come on. And the way he phrased everything to me, well, number 1. Number 1 for Adam.
Brilliant.
Way to go, Adam.
Yeah, I agree.
I get my T-shirt.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, that was fun. That was good stuff. And it's good that we had plenty of time to think about it and really elaborate on our answers.
You gave me somehow less lead time than the last time, which was only 5 minutes.
It's fun that way. Walking the tightrope is fun. And speaking of which, we're going to be walking a tightrope tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to field questions from the Inside Foods TV group. Topics, and we're going to address them. And we have no idea. The 3 of us have no idea what Tom Robinson's going to throw at us, and that's how we like it.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get it underway.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents Ask Me Anything.
You can ask me anything.
You have to ask me nicely. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
You have some questions for me, do you? All right, well, let's get to them.
Yeah, let's get to it. So okay. The order in which we're going to go this evening when it comes to answering these questions. Now, first of all, we're going to have Mark answer first, then Adam, and then Jim. However, if someone disagrees with the answer they've heard prior to their answer, they can also jump in once Jim has given his answer. So those are the ground rules. All right.
I'm not listening to you.
We're not going to. I think we're going to agree on almost everything tonight. You know, the 3 of us really do think very much alike.
Okay.
I'm not listening to you.
Okay. So, all right. So here's
Ask me anything. Come on.
Here you go. Here's your first question tonight. It comes from Robert Janik, and I hope I pronounced that properly. Okay. Robert, he wants to know, out of the top 20 ranked players, how many would not go to a tournament because they're not seeded?
There are no, if the top 20 player intends on going to a tournament, they're not going to stop because they're not seeded. It was a game in the 90s. It was more of a game when there were a lot more teams.
Okay.
People they would match up. They'd get together to get a higher seed, and they'd figure it out. But now there's like 4 or 5 guys, right? You got Tony Ryan, Brandon, maybe Tommy, maybe
Todd.
Tracy and Dave. Todd, well, kind of, because Todd plays with random people. Blake, kind of, but like really, what happens now that's different than the '90s is people look and say, "Am I in Ryan's bracket or Tony's bracket?" That's what they say. Then they might have one hurdle before then, which is it might be Blake, or it might be who am I missing? The guy Kane, right? There's like these little, but now Kevin a little bit, but people do not play the seeding game the way you used to. I'm saying all 20 would show up. All 20 would show up, no doubt.
They would. Okay.
Yeah, they all show up.
So just for those who are not familiar with the term seeded, what does that mean?
Well, it means that you get a number one seed. It's combined points. If it's doubles, combined points probably gives you a bye and puts you at one end of the bracket, and the second highest ranked team will go on the opposite side of the bracket, and back and forth. So the 1 and 4 seed are on one side, and the 2 and 3 seed are on another side. But they played anyway. Back they didn't know what they're seeding. They try to figure out their seeding. So here's what happened: they figure out who they're playing with. They figured out who else is teamed up like 2 weeks before the tournament, and they'd start seeding the tournament, figuring out who was in their bracket, how to prepare, who am I going to play against. It just doesn't happen as much anymore because you're really just worried about Ryan and Tony. Maybe secondarily Kevin and Brandon Munoz, maybe, but it's not the same.
Interesting. Well, Mark, you have a German Shepherd, correct?
Yes.
And you know that moment your German Shepherd kind of turns his head and looks at you, turns his head the other way. I'm doing that now. Like, what are you talking about? Okay.
It's a she. And when she does that, she gets whatever she wants, just like my daughters. So whatever.
So, okay. Jim, you want to chime in on this?
Is it my turn? I thought Adam was next.
Adam, you can go next. Okay.
You don't even know what you're doing.
No, I'll go. The question is seeding. How many players at the top 20 would not show up if it was seeded?
Yes, out of the top 20
if
ranked
it
players,
wasn't seeded,
how many would not go to a tournament because they're not seeded?
Right. I can't imagine any of them. No, because I read that thread and I was really confused by it because a lot of people were talking about how the seeding or not seeding is ruining turnout. But it's just like, I feel like that's so far beyond what might be ruining turnout right now. I just don't see that as being problematic. So I'm going to agree with Mark.
Yeah, I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little bit here, and I think oftentimes in some of these lower events, whether it's expert, pro, whatever, they'd love to have it seeded as well. But if there was an event, an open event that was advertised as no seeding, every man for himself, anything can happen, sort of thing, I think there might be a few players who were at the very least unhappy, and maybe a few who wouldn't come because of it. It's a big deal. Thinking that maybe, you have to come in as the number 4 seed on paper and have to play Tony Sprademan in the first round.
Right.
Something like that. So there would be some discontent. Now, whether that would keep people away from the tournament in the current environment, I don't know. Maybe at some point someone would make a stand in order to turn that around. I mean, seeding, I think, is pretty necessary in the highest divisions. And I think there's an argument to be made that it also would be beneficial in pro, expert, amateur, and on down. So I out of that, I'm going to say 7.
Oh, wow. That's a
7 out of the 20.
Wow.
So damn random. Damn random and meaningless.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I'll name those 7 for you if I need to.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, so this seeding thing, it really only affects a small percentage of players at any given tournaments, right? Just the first, like the top players, and then the lower players that they're going to crush. Theoretically, right?
In the modern era of foosball, it's like 4 teams.
Because I remember
you got to look internationally at this. You got to look at it internationally as well. Swiss system, where, as we saw last weekend when the event that Adam and Mark and I worked from Austria, the top 10 seeds didn't even have to play in the qualifying rounds. If you're not seeded and you're in a Swiss system, you have to play in those qualification rounds instead of sleeping in or having a big breakfast or going out and running or whatever. And so, I don't know where that came from.
Do people do that?
But the advantages of being seated in that are humongous. That's huge. Kevin Hoodstorfer, seated number 1. He got to show up at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
So you're telling me here, okay, let me try to help out here. If you are not seated, and that's a reason for you not to go to a foosball tournament where you will make no money anyway, you are very confused about why you're playing foosball. If seeding is your obstruction to competing, you are seriously confused.
Well, unless you want to make a stand, unless you want to get out there with a sign and say, we want seeds, that sort of thing, and maybe someday we'll get to that point where it matters that much. But anyway, all right. I think we've beaten this one around pretty solidly.
Let's rotate who goes first.
Okay.
So I can feel like devil's advocate too for no good reason.
Well, next question.
All right.
Adam will go first, then Jim, then Mark will go last. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. So the next question comes to us from Greg Stillwell. And this is about player promoters, people who actually play and also promote foosball. How many player promoters have spent at least $10,000 to attract competitive foosball players to play in their local venues or to teach the newer players how to get better, even if it means they get beat in their own game?
That's a really interesting question. And I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not on that side. I don't know anybody, but I do know what happens, how the tournament soccer model was.
Okay.
And I think it's interesting that Greg Stillwell is asking this because I think he's one of the old school players. I see him kicking around questions a lot. But the old school model was that the tournament soccer would buy tables from an overseas manufacturer. Peppered would buy them. They'd sell them to distributors and then the operators for promotions. And the table sales would drive promotions. And what happened through the mid to late 70s is the promotions dropped because the table sales dropped. And then you got more player fees, more entry fees, higher entry fees, and more events. And it was this cycle that occurred because the supply chain broke down for whatever reason. So when we talk about promotions, to me, I'm thinking about, I feel like, what are we really talking about when we talk about promotions and promoters doing that? Because it has to be part of a larger structure. You know what I mean? And I don't know, is it on the backs of the promoters to drop 10 grand? And how do you even do that? Like, where's the structures out there to even help?
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Lamb, I'm up in Oregon right now, and I was talking to Lamb Fam, and he's got his Foos Club that he's trying to start out of Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And and he's like, it was player supported during the pandemic. They did a Kickstarter to help him out, the fundraiser or whatever. And I talked to him, and the thing is he's running it as a kind of a promoter, but he spends all of his time front of the house stuff. He needs back of the house people training and teaching people. I don't even know if 10 grand's going to cover that, because who do you have in each one of these regions that can come in and like do all these different things? So I think it's a great question, and it is open to a lot of, it's a huge can of worms when you open that up.
I think you make a great point about the structure that it really up till now doesn't really strongly exist in this country. So many of these promoters have to attack these things independently, right? So my answer is 7 once again. No, can you reread the question to me, Tom?
Yeah, sure. So the question, of course, including player promoters, how many player promoters have spent at least $10,000, I presume this is of their own money, to attract competitive foosball players to play in local venues, or just to be around to teach new players on how to get better, even if it means they get beat in their own game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, ideally, you want to approach your local promotional system from the aspect of being an operator as well, and maybe get a return on your investment. But there have been any number, and people that I've worked with over the years, a lot of them, if they're going to spend 10 grand and not get a return, are not going to be around very long. But that certainly is the history. And I think, again, I want to harken back to what Adam said about the structure. There needs to be a structure. There needs to be support from above. There needs to be direction, from above. There need to be templates on how to do this at a local level, because so much of it over the years, in this country at least, has been people kind of winging it and kind of thinking, this is how I can do it. This is maybe going to work type of thing. And I'm going to spend my own money to do this. And maybe I'll get a return. Maybe I won't. By the way, Lamb Fan, love Lamb Fan. If you haven't seen the amateur doubles final from Moneyball, head over to InsideFoos.com. Lamb Fan was a big participant in that. Mark and I had a lot of fun doing that match. But I'm curious to hear what Mark has to say about this.
Yeah.
I would say that if they are player promoters that cared at all, gave a damn, and gave it a year shot, and we look at opportunity costs, hours spent, all of them have done it. And 10 grand is only like 6.5 foosball tables.
Right. That's
if you
the
bought
tables,
a couple of tables and then you spent like hours and hours, everybody's in for 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing that shouldn't be forgotten about foosball is the passion and commitment and love for foosball. We've seen so many guys and gals sink their heart and soul and time and energy and attempt to build something. And for various reasons, they've come up short. But so many people have gave it a shot. So and because the love of the game, and so many of them have done it at a loss.
Right.
They weren't trying to do it at a loss.
Yeah, the love of the game. Yeah, you said it.
They weren't trying to do it. They were they were thinking, man, if I just break even, I'll be happy because I'm helping the sport. If I just break even, and most of them never broke even. So I put everybody at 10 grand easily. If they gave it a year, everybody's at 10 grand.
Yeah, I mean, who has broken even over the years?
Sure.
Who has been able to be successful, at least for any period of time? There's been very, very, very few. And again, Mark said it, the love of the game. You have to be a giver. You can't expect a return, although I think the environment can change. I think with support from a national federation,
sure,
with Foosball Clubs USA potentially being involved, with the club system coming, all of these things can contribute to the potential success of local promoters. And people who do put that kind of money in, I think down the road are going to have a pretty good chance of getting a return.
Okay, so I want to broaden this discussion because I think it's vitally important because, of course, we're now getting back into the swing of things. Now the tournaments are back on. Where does the other end? Is there a limit? In other words, okay, we're going to put on, I don't know, $50,000 tournament. When it comes to the return for the promoter, is there a cap? Is there some kind of, is it sort of like, what's the right thing to do for a promoter when it comes to putting on a $50,000 tournament? What kind of money should they walk away with?
Should I go ahead and start this round? This sounds like almost a different kind of question.
Yeah, sure.
That's the thing. And again, there are different ways of approaching this. Over the years, we have seen, promoters offer X number of dollars available to the winners based on full fields or based on a certain number of players.
Mm-hmm.
Other promoters have put up a big number. Now, 50 is kind of high. Let's go with a $10,000 tournament.
Okay.
Someone guarantees $10,000 tournament. They're relying on player entries. And I know Mark's going to talk about this. This is a big thing with Mark and with all of us, I think. But relying on player entries to support a pot, to support payouts is not a good model to have. Ideally, a local promoter, a regional promoter can get local and regional sponsors involved.
Mm-hmm.
You're not completely reliant on player entry fees.
I think we're losing Jim.
Jim, are you there?
Maybe he had to get a new IPA.
Yeah.
He was on a roll.
He was on a great roll.
Yeah.
Adam, why don't you go ahead and...
Mark, you finish his thought. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I think where Jim was going, if I could just kind of summarize, I think he was going to go to a place where relying on entry fees is not the way to have a healthy system.
Yeah.
Now, let's qualify this. Texas State had 444 players.
Right.
And it was profitable. But in order to be profitable, Steve Murray is an aggressive business personality.
Sure.
He aggressively negotiates with all the costs that you have to come to realize. He aggressively negotiated with the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He got discounts on hotel rooms. He got a broad range of support. He runs a highly efficient tournament. He had to pay there's all these expenses that you got to account for. If you here's the risk reward scenario. You throw a big tournament like that and people don't show up and you have a bunch of tables, you can go bankrupt. You can go, but you owe a bunch of money and you got to make sure that, you do a really good job on the business end of it. So I don't know. I think Jim is back, but my answer to this is how your original question was how much of a return should a promoter have? I think so much of that. I mean, we're living a capitalist country.
No, I get that. I get that.
And putting all the hours in and putting the work in and the stress.
Oh, I'm not trying to. Me personally, I mean, I'm not asking the question to belittle the effort that goes into putting on a great tournament because the effort is it's superhuman. It's astronomical, and you can't put a dollar value on that. I'm just wondering, when it comes to balancing what people get paid to play as opposed to what the promoter takes.
I think the answer to that question is people will pay more to play a tournament with less of a return if the experience, if the hotel and the culture and the ambiance, the culture of the people involved and it's engaging and the environment's right, people will pay a high, if it's branded correctly, if it's marketed correctly, if the service is good, people will pay a higher amount and expect less of a return. And I think that I'll just end this by saying I threw a couple of these tournaments. People paid a lot of money to play in my. They paid a lot of money to play in my tournaments, and everybody left completely satisfied. They were happy with their experience.
Cool.
And that has to do with organization, makeup, and what your expectation setting. Anyway, Adam, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I did like your tournaments you used to throw.
I wasn't invited.
Oh, Jim, you want to finish your thought?
Yeah.
I didn't know because I just went on and on. I had no idea I was off the air, and I don't know where
you might
I
have
left
been
off.
channeling through Mark. Mark kept talking for you.
It was I know Mark how strongly he feels about this, but events tournaments cannot continue to be supported solely by player entries, and that's what it comes down to.
Yep. No, I'm totally with that on Jim. And Adam, do you want to embellish on that?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, there's not too much to embellish. I think we're all on the same page here, and I agree. Like going back to that tournament soccer thing that I was talking about, you heard where the tournaments had to start making their money. They were making their money off of event fees and getting having this convoluted rating system where you had more, everything that happened that you see kind of repeating every decade or two. And I think just to wrap up my thought here, the bigger thing is it's a hard question to answer because I feel like the paradigm that we discuss these things in is incorrect. And we need to develop something. I'm not smart enough to know what that is, but I feel like we need to be talking about these in different terms that I just don't know what those are.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very, very good point.
Yeah, like that. Absolutely. Well, it's certainly provocative, and we have to think about these things, of course, not just as people who love foosball, but people who want to continue to play this and play it at a high level. So, okay, next question. This one comes from Com Kickern. And this is discussing actually on Inside Foos TV. They're stating that they want to start a worldwide No Pro tour, September 21st, and go till the end of March 20. I think it's March 22nd, 2022. They say it's going to be in beta and free. The goal is to find new players for foosball clubs and locations. And here's their question: we're considering banning the snake shot for the No Pro tour, since it could discourage new players. What say you about that?
Mark, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. Jim, go first on that one.
I mean, it's interesting, with young players, is the snake shot a good thing? Do they develop the skills necessary really to compete at the highest level if they start so early shooting the snake shot? That's part of it. The other thing is, when he first started talking about this idea of a No Pro tour, it reminded me kind of, there are these leagues around the country in pool, in darts, probably in different bar type games where they do have these big championships. The VNEA, the Valley National 8-Ball Association. I worked a few of those events. It's all about bar players. It's who aren't professional players, but they do have a championship event every year. And that's kind of the way I looked at it. Now, of course, with myself and with Inside Foos over the years, we have been so focused on the pro end of it, the Premier League end of it, the Major League end of it, et cetera, that to have that sort of thing, I think it's in addition to a high-end pro tour would be great. And again, Com Kickern coming from Germany, looking at it from a little different point of view. They have a very established club system, developing new players. They are already competing not only at that highest level, but in a club versus club sort of environment as well, to where they can then begin to look at this kind of an idea, to implement and really focus in on developing new players and keeping them playing against their own level of competition, et cetera. Banning the snake shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a iffy one. I go both ways on this. Of course, I see the benefits of the snake. It's easy to learn, gets players involved early. It is a natural evolution, right? It's legal, et cetera. However, and Mark and I have batted this one around a few times, and I'm sure we will again in the future. But is it good for a young player to go directly to the snake shot, not learn the pushes, the pulls, the ball handling, everything else, the wrist shots, the open-handed shots, everything else? We have seen too often players who start shooting the snake shot as their primary shot almost from ground zero. We have seen them kind of burn out. Where can they go? What more can they do? Do they have are they ever able to reach the highest level because they don't possess all these other skills, these foundational skills that are necessary? And so I don't know. I like the idea of classic doubles, classic singles at these big events.
Yes.
So these are with players who are already well developed. For young players, I don't know. I don't really have an answer on that one. I kind of like the idea of maybe it not being that way, but again, it's a natural evolution. So when it comes to the snake shot, I'm ambivalent, and maybe I can be swayed one way or the other by these two guys.
Adam, you want to take this next?
Yeah. Well, obviously, there's a whole lot of facets here. There's a lot of things to unpack, but I'm going to just focus on two, and they're related. Banning the snake, I think, is not something that I would agree with, unless you have like event specific things. Like I guess if you wanted to do like what they're talking about, but I don't think, as stated in the question, is it going to turn off new players? I don't think so. I think the snake actually brings in new players. But bigger picture, big box thinking, what I'm really thinking about, and this is what Jim is alluding to, is like you look at Little League and Little League farms that we have, in the United States.
Yes,
they do not start off with the curveball. You don't teach you all that kind of stuff because you can mess up your elbow. You can do all kinds of bad things to your form. There's a way that they scaffold out what it is that you learn. And the problem is that we don't have training centers or training in anything for people to learn how to play foosball. So as Jim was talking about, you have people that, burn out early because they don't have a really high ceiling because they only learn certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when you're talking about should you ban the snake, you're not really talking about should you ban the snake. What you're really talking about is how do we learn, absorb, digest, and put back out what we learn about foosball. And it's a much larger question than we have time for, obviously. But that's what I got from that conversation.
Mark?
Yeah, I think if you reframe it, it makes a lot of sense. If you say, let's not talk about take the snake away. We want to diversify your skill set. So in the first round of these events, you got to shoot a push kick. And in the second round, you got to shoot a pull kick. And in the third round, you have to shoot a push shot. And the fourth round, you have to shoot a pull shot.
Ooh,
and in the last rounds, you could shoot whatever the hell you want.
Right.
Euro, rollover, any shot. It's just different. We want to give you different skills to develop. And as a beginner to rookie to amateur player, this is the way to do that, to show you the diversity of the game. And then when you get to the semifinals or finals, you give anything you want. And you know what's going to happen? Some of these guys and gals are going to get hot with a back pin or get hot with a pull kick, and that's what they're going to shoot in the semifinals, and they're going to stick with it. Like maybe by 5%, but still, you got a new intervention of pull kick and push kick shooters, back pin shooters, Euro shooters, whatever. And then I think that's the way you do it. You less about we're going to penalize you, and more about we want you to learn different stuff so you can make a better choice later about what you want to do. I don't know. Someone might bring.
I love that idea. I love the idea of a different shot each round.
Yeah, I really like that.
My idea.
Yeah, no, it forces the skills development. If you go in that way, that makes a whole lot of sense, and it sounds like a whole lot of fun too.
It sure does. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that Com Kickern mentioned in their posting is that their events will be only Monster DYP or Swiss system, including single knockout for at least the first year.
I like the way they're thinking. I like what they're doing, and we've talked with these people. They're very, very smart foosball people, experienced, and living in a country that maybe has the biggest player base of any place, and it's the most advanced. And so I love the thinking. I love thinking outside the box. I love trying some new things, and anything that's going to promote the sport and do it in a fun way, I'm all for.
Well, guys, this kind of brings up a quick anecdote. Now, just make this quick. But this past Friday evening at the DYP in Clifton Park, New York, we were playing Swiss system, and we had a couple of guys show up who were very curious, wanted to see what was going on. And this happens every so often in the location where we play. A couple of guys will walk up to the table and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, I used to play this game," and I got into the conversation, as you may know. Hey, have you played lately? You think you want to come out and play with us? We play every Friday night. Try to encourage them to show up, and they're like, "Yeah, we've been thinking about it. We live locally. We didn't know you guys were here. We used to play back in the 80s and 90s. We'd like to get back in." And they're like, "Well, listen, hang out and play some pickups with us, or watch." And so they did, and they watched Sammy DeJean. And they kind of said, "Hey, that was great. Wow, this kid. Yeah, thanks. Hey, take care, guys. Yeah, great talking to you." So, and they, I think they, because they played in the 80s, maybe the 90s, they thought, well, I was good back in the day, but man, this is
the evolution.
Whoa, this is beyond belief.
I got to say, and I think I told you this, Jim, but I quit around 2006, and I came back again around 2015 when there was the elite singles happening still. And the first two people I played Kevin Romero when he was first coming up, and that was really difficult. I just barely beat him, and then I played Dustin Gatliff at his prime or near prime. And I was like, the game has changed in just those 10 years. It's wild. So for a new player, and I've been, playing for a long time, and so people that might be wanting to get back into it, to see that is, I don't know. It
harkens back to a conversation that we seem to always have, and that's making sure that players compete at their level, whatever that is, however you manage that, right?
Right.
But don't play too far above. How many times have we seen players get turned away because they go to a major tournament, play open doubles, open singles, go up against a pro or a pro master, just get devastated, and we never see them again. So I think that kind of brings up that ever lasting issue of playing against higher competition when you shouldn't be. And so I think that's another aspect of this that probably is a whole different question. Speaking of questions, what else we got?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to our next big one. Okay, here's one I think you guys will enjoy. How do you guys deal with sweaty hands and rods in tournaments? Sweaty hands on the rods in the tournaments. What say you? Mark, you go first on this one.
I use wraps, and that's about as good as I can. A lot of people use rosin, and I've used wraps. I don't know. I'd want to find out if this person asking has a condition called hyperhidrosis.
Right.
They sweat a lot from their hands, but if that's the case, wraps is all you really can do, or you can get a Botox shot. And that'll reduce the sweating from your hands.
That'll do it.
You can get the sympathetic nerve removed through.
Hold on, I'm taking notes here.
Through your back. So if you really want to reduce the sweating in your hands, it's about $40,000 to get the sympathetic nerve removed through a minimally invasive procedure through your back. Otherwise, just buy the wraps. The wraps are like $3. Wraps are $3.
No, hold on a second. I need to interject.
That was comprehensive, Mark.
I can't.
I don't know.
I don't mess around, baby.
I know. I was going to say,
how do we top that? We have nowhere to go now, Adam. There's nothing we can say.
No, you can just remove your hands.
Yeah, I thought of amputation immediately.
Yeah, so that's the first step.
Sure. Yes. Why do people have hooks for hands? They should just put
that's a whole nother
foosball rod. They should put a foosball rod on their hand.
Okay.
Now, and then as soon as this question came up, I started thinking about the old tornado handles, those wooden handles. Remember those?
Right.
And I never used a rod or anything. I never used a wrap or anything on those. I would just, because I love the feel of the grain, on there, and I had good grip. And yes, they would start to get smooth over time, and before you knew it, they smelled like you. But it just.
Why are you always smelling me? Why are you always like?
Not like you. I thought like me. They smelled like me. Because I do have hyperperspiratory issues. No, I do not have that. I don't think so. I've not been diagnosed as such. But I always did sweat a bit. But it does come down to it. For a time they used tape right on the handles. But it's simple. A $3 wrap.
No, I've noticed also there are individuals that I've noticed in regional tournaments that walk in with gloves, tape or wraps, and also talcum or whatever. What is that? Like a pine tar kind of thing? Rosin, rosin. And in fact, there was one guy I saw. He carried a gym bag full of gloves. I mean, hundreds of gloves. So I guess
because you want to know why? Because he's OCD.
Yeah, he's OCD.
He loses a match. Or loses a game, or something odd happens.
Has there
change his glove?
Ever been a worse smelling duffel bag than that one? No, there has not been. In the 70s, on tournament soccer, everybody wore a glove or two gloves. We all did, and of course, you would need 30 of them because after about a half a day at a big tournament, they got a little ripe. No question about it. But that's the way we did it. It was pre-wraps. It was pre-tape. Yeah, everybody either had a wrap. Very few players, as you remember, well, maybe you don't, Adam, although I know you have a history in TS. But very few players did not wear a glove back then. Of course, nowadays, Frederic Collignon, always with two gloves. Several of the European players, always with two gloves. Some of the Americans as well. No one of note necessarily is using it. Most of them use wraps. I think we're going way too long on this topic.
Well, hold on a second.
People. It's wraps.
Yeah, it's wraps. Okay. Now, a little side shoot of this one. This is my own question. Who in the history of foosball manufacturing has made the best natural grips for foosball? Who? What company?
What do you mean, like wraps?
So no, not wraps. I'm talking about like their handles that come built onto the table.
Oh,
I think I said it. I think I went with the tornado wooden handle.
You like the tornado wooden handle? Anybody
I
else
did.
got
Yeah.
another point of view on that?
I would agree. I haven't really played on a lot of different tables, so I'd just go with that.
I kind of like I like the Leonhardt myself.
No.
Yeah.
It seems grippy, although they use wraps on those too, but it doesn't seem quite as slick as the new tornado.
No, I think that's a good point. There's a little bit of texture to it, a little bit of give to it. Seems to fit the hand nicely. I think of the 5 major tables, ITSF tables, I'd say they do have the best natural grip on their handles.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
Awesome.
Although I still love that wooden handle on the tornado.
Mark, you want to chime in on that one?
I have no other handle commentary.
Yeah. Okay. Mark just can't. You just can't handle
I
it.
guess. Yeah. I guess.
Oh,
You can't
no.
handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
God.
I wish I had that. I wish I had that in file here. Yeah. Okay. So
Are we dying here? Are we dying,
no,
or is this
no,
is this
no. I'm
is this
saving
segment
this is
actually
cutting-
going somewhere?
This is good commentary.
No, I'm saving the best for last, guys. Don't worry about
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
Mike Green sent us a question, and of course, this is a biggie. The greatest player of all time.
Oh God!
Player of all time.
Is
Done this? Who've done this?
Man, boy, this is a tough one.
Greatest player
Who's
of all
first here,
time.
Tom?
Did it?
Yeah,
who's first?
Adam.
Me.
Adam,
No.
Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Adam,
Me?
go first.
Yeah.
Go, Adam. Go.
All right, I got this, and this is going to go in line with the stuff that I've been saying. But I'm going to say my dad, Terry Gilson.
Yeah, that's a good call.
No,
I was
seriously.
going with that as well.
Yeah,
My
I wouldn't
dad,
be.
too.
I wouldn't be sitting here. So I'm going to go. I mean, I would be sitting here. No, I wouldn't. Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Baby Jesus.
Oh,
No one could beat. No one has a better rollover than Baby Jesus.
Yeah, baby Jesus is tough, man.
yeah.
He's
Well, he
tough.
has to start it at his armpit, though.
not 35-year-old Jesus
Yeah.
is walking
I know.
around pulling fish out of a basket like a show
No.
off. I'm talking about the
I
little
know.
baby
No,
halo
you know-
that floats around. That Baby Jesus.
I remember I killed that guy. I killed him in a match. 3 days later, he comes back and just beats the heck
No,
out of
you're-
me.
you're
I
talking about
killed
Jesus.
you.
Really funny.
You're talking about Baby Jesus. That guy's
No.
different.
No, that's what happens when you go hide in a cave and he came back, right, Jim?
Yeah, no, let's get serious here. Obviously, when you're talking about the greatest player, we're talking about the greatest multi-table player of all time. And there's only one name that comes to mind on that, of course. It's Frederick Collignon, greatest player of all time. In the United States, who is the greatest American player of all time? There's some argument now. Obviously, Todd Alfredo's been doing it for almost 50 years. You got to put him in the mix. But what Tony Sprademan has done, specifically in singles, has to be under consideration for sure. But internationally, Frederick Collignon on every other table besides Tornado is like 75% better than anybody else that's ever played the game internationally. He just is. I'd go to these tournaments in France or in Austria or in Germany or Belgium or wherever. He would play on one of 12 different kinds of tables. And no matter who he played, they knew going into that match that they were going to lose. There's no way I can beat him. There are very few international players, maybe Rob Atho, and maybe that's about it, thought they could beat Fred. And Rob does have some wins over Fred internationally.
Right.
But no, without question, there isn't any question in my mind who the greatest player of all time is. It's Frederick Collignon, a man that I think has more than 100 world championships, and that's remarkable. Who else has even 100 major championships or championships of any kind? And so if anybody disagrees with me, they're just wrong. It's Frederick Collignon.
I read a crazy stat about Fred that one year he won every world championship in singles and doubles on every table.
Yeah.
For that year, he won every single one. No one will ever, if anyone ever does that again,
Mixed
it's probably going to be his son. Other than that, there's no one else. I can't imagine that ever happening. Now, someone always says this will never happen again, and within 2 decades, it does happen again.
Right.
But I'm just saying that is a stupid statistic.
I can't see it ever because of whether you're talking Europeans or other international players. Their abilities on Tornado are generally limited, right? Even Robert Atho, one of the greatest multi-table players of all time, has never won a Tornado World Championship. And so for Fred to do what he did was ridiculous, and it will never happen again.
Right.
Adam,
Right.
Nope. I have nothing. I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add.
Yep,
Okay.
I've got
No,
Terry
I said
Gilson.
my dad. Yeah.
I'm going with Terry. Yeah,
Yeah.
Terry.
All right.
Without Terry Gilson, I may not be here today.
Wow. See, we all owe, and neither would Mark or Tom. So there we go.
Mark and Tom might be, but not me, because your dad made sure my first tournament experience was a good one, as we talked about last week. And because of your dad, I kept playing foosball. I had a great time that weekend and kept playing foosball. So
Well, guys, we are a call-in show, and we actually have a call-in contestant here. Someone who wants to chime in. Calls himself Grad One. Grad One, you're on FoosTalk Live. Welcome. Grad One, are you there? He says he posted
butt dial. Grad One butt dial. Though.
Dang it! How can you butt dial?
I can hear him.
Radio show.
Hey, Grad One, we're talking to your ass right now.
Man.
Hey, salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you guys. Thing is, I'm whiter than Casper the Friendly Ghost. I'm Canadian. God bless you guys. I'm Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what's up?
What part of Canada are you calling from?
Toronto. Teal. Toronto.
Are you
Toronto? Pardon me?
Are you a foosball player?
No, I'm not. But thing is, I gotta ask you guys a question. Did you guys watch the Euros?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. How could we miss it?
Okay, who won? And was it a fucking?
Italy, of course. Yeah, Italy beat Great Britain or England in a. It was ridiculous. Thanks for your call.
The thing is, my question is this: was it a racist thing or no?
What?
Yeah, it probably was. I think it probably. I think there's. I don't think it's. I think it's racist in the fact that there were people that certainly criticized because of the race of the gentlemen who were
obviously shitheads, right? But the thing is, honestly, come back. I'm trying to retract. The thing is, do you think Italy won because of racism? Pardon me?
Wait, say again. You think Italy what?
Because of racism. Because Italy won because of racism, or what?
I don't think they won because of that. I don't think they won because of that. It's certainly that there were ramifications of that, but no, it was one of our colleagues is a huge England fan, and of course it was very difficult for him, although he is white. So, all right.
Well, it was very nice talking to you, Grad One.
Thanks for your call, bud.
Thanks for calling in.
Inshallah.
No, the thing is, can we continue on this? If you guys mind. First off, where are you guys from? I'm from Toronto. Where are you guys from? Whereabouts in the States?
I'm from upstate New York.
I'm from Ventura. How's the weather in Toronto right now?
It sucks. Mosquitoes are fucking going crazy.
Yeah. Is it hot?
All right. Time to pull the plug here.
All right. So, hey, thank you so much for calling in, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Here's our screener.
You ever want to play foosball, bro? We're down to teach you foosball. Round them up.
All right, can we talk?
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, take care now. Great to get a caller every once in a while. I mean, just kind of wakes us up.
No, we did that. I mean, I've only been here for an hour and a half, but
yeah.
Hey, bro,
Thanks,
Adam.
Thank you, Tony Bacon.
I appreciate you trying to make a friend, Adam, but that might have been the wrong time.
No, I didn't know that was real. I didn't know what was happening, so I wanted to make sure that I was fact checking them. You know how you always say, like, when somebody says they're they know you and you don't, and you say, "Well, tell me what you said 10 years ago." So I was looking at the weather in Toronto right now, and he didn't say.
He said it sucked.
Right. It doesn't suck. It's nice.
Okay.
I love it.
Hey, we need to fire our screener. Who's our screener? Our call screener. Anyway, let's move on.
Man.
Yes.
We have another question?
It's Podbean Peter is our screener. So yeah.
Podbean Peter.
So one more question, guys, and I don't know how to take this one, but let's throw it out there, see what happens. It came up on the listed Inside Foos TV. What team in foosball history weighed the most?
That's a good one. Yeah.
I seem to remember
in history.
Dude, this is a rough one.
Yeah, I got one. I think I've got.
I got one too, but I don't know. Is this okay? Should we? Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim. Maybe we can move on from this.
Yeah. Okay.
Could we say Team USA weighs the most?
All
Team
right.
USA.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's Imperial.
And they have the most
I think
weight.
in the North American Cup, it was Team Wisconsin.
The North American what?
Team Wisconsin?
Okay.
Oh, Jimmy, you're just too fast for us. Just too fast. Wow.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, then. Well, guys, then we're out of questions. But
we have no more callers, do we? I was hoping maybe someone would call from, Canada.
Well, right. Oh, by the way, his parting shot to you, Mark, leave Jesus alone.
Yeah, man.
That was an opening shot. That was not a parting shot. That's been there for a while.
Oh boy, it was great. At least we had a caller. That's the good news.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and it's neat. Inside Foos TV group, it's a place where you can kind of go and get different opinions on things, and everybody, is so. I don't know whether it's coming out of COVID or just a general evolution of how things are headed, but everybody is very passionate.
Right.
Everybody has ideas about where we can go, new ideas, fresh ideas, not always informed ideas, but they are ideas, and they need to be listened to and considered. And everybody is. One thing about foosball players, they're very, very much passionate, I suppose, is one way of putting it.
Oh, sure.
But it means so much to them, right? And so they have these ideas about what we can do as far as tournaments go. The one thing we have to kind of get out of, though, is the old school way of thinking about how things have always been. Because there's maybe better ways of doing things as we move forward. And that may include Swiss system. That may include a different way of generating income at a tournament like we've talked about. But I love the passion. I love the involvement. I love that we are able to have these sorts of discussions internationally because of social media, et cetera. And it also gives us food for thought and the ability to fill up about an hour and a half of FoosTalk Live.
Well, guys, I know that we also have another caller, which is this unprecedented.
Outstanding.
Dan Schermeyer. Dan, welcome once again to FoosTalk Live. It's been a while, man. How you doing?
I am doing great. Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, oh yeah, we can hear you fine.
Outstanding. I didn't get to talk to you guys at the Beachtown Beatdown. I was disappointed about that, but how did you like doing the tournament? I thought it was interesting having the separated room for you folks. And I thought it would have been kind of cool to have had, the video of the matches and then being able to have heard you announcing, almost like in a pit table in a separated room like that. Have you ever thought about doing a setup like that where, people sitting in a pit could hear
it's something we have, it's something we've done in the past. And it's something we would love to do at every tournament. I think it's kind of neat. And there in particular, there were logistical issues with being able to do that. It was kind of neat being able to keep Mark Torres separate from everyone else, keep him to some degree under control. But no, I think it's something we should try to do at every tournament. Have a player's lounge that has a big screen TV with our live video feed, with our commentary. Over the years, we have done that. There have been times where the pits, at a big match, there were 4 people sitting in the bleachers. There were 45 people sitting just outside the room in front of a TV listening in. And so, no, I agree, Shu, that it's something that we would love to do at every event. And it's something we have certainly looked at Inside Foos.
I love that tournament. I want to go to that tournament every single year. I actually love that location. It was quirky. The way we were kind of isolated, and it had some drawbacks, but I would do it again in that exact same way and up the game a little bit. To Jim's point, maybe put a TV in the other room. Adam, if you get a chance to do the Beachtown Beatdown, you got to do this. It is a party, dude. It is a good time, man.
I got that sense.
It's like no other tournament. That's all I can say. And as intense as the kickoff of Inside Foos was, and as intense as these tournaments can be and difficult they can be at oftentimes, yet they're fun, of course. But that one was just pure fun. That one, it was great to get down there on the beach in Florida with our buddies and just have a good time while talking about foosball.
And I got to say, to the guys,
thing that was kind of odd about it, I didn't even know you were there for quite a long time. I didn't go to the tournament Friday, and so when I got there Saturday, signed up and playing some matches, and I'm like, where are the cameras? Where are the guys at? And it took me a long time before I just kind of walked into that back room and realized you guys were even there. I wonder if all the people even knew you were there to know to go back there and check it out.
Yeah, that was an interesting quirk to it. And Dan,
Yeah.
I saw your name on stuff, and I regretted not running into you either. I'm like, I saw your name at some point. I'm like, where is this guy? It's unfortunate we never connected, but that'll be the thing about next year, having a bigger visibility to where we are, and really that's it. Because
Yeah.
I don't see the venue working out unless they open up that whole back area that used to be a salon, which I don't think they'll do that. That's where we'll probably be next year too. Anyway,
Yeah,
go ahead, Jim.
we were kind of back in the Harry Potter room, deep in the bowels of this place, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of neat, but yeah, I don't think I saw you, and I think I gave you a quick hello at some point as we walked past each other on a Saturday night. I think probably, but no, there are benefits to being isolated like that. But really, ideally, at every tournament that Inside Foos is at, I kind of like to be the center ring, not me, but the top players to have like we were at Nationals, and we have been at Texas State was a great example of us being dead center in the room and sort of the focal point of the entire room. Have that championship arena right there in the middle of everything. And ideally, that's the way to do it. Beat town a little bit differently. And again, I didn't mind it too much. I thought it was kind of cool. Got a little quiet back there at times. But it is what it is. Beat down an anomaly. It's a different sort of event. But ideally, as you say, Shu, we should be, in my opinion, we should be, the dead center with that pit area, that finals area.
I had one more thing, if I may. As also someone who watches Inside Foos and sees the tables sometimes not occupied, and kind of relating it to ESPN and big time sports, how their games are really centered around accommodating the television productions. So, working with the tournament promoters, thinking about the top players who are there, and also, the top local favorites that are there and local pros, and kind of getting everything organized to where, hey, your match is going to be up next on table one. We're going to need you to get up there quickly so that we can keep good content going on all of our productions. So I think it would be good if you guys are able to integrate more with the tournament promoters and feature, get the featured players onto the tables quickly. And keep the talent showing on the monitors almost all the time if you can.
So Dan, we have a question for you in that regard. Do you know anybody who's got a used video truck we could get our hands on?
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to address this. When you're talking about ESPN, when you're talking about major sports broadcasters, they have a 2-hour show. We are set up and we are streaming for oftentimes 12 to 14 hours in a day. And yes, we do our best to coordinate with these promoters. We do. We try with the tournament directors, with getting matches on the table. One of the things we've done is to make sure that we generally have at least 2 streams, maybe 3. If there isn't something actively happening on table 1, you can shoot over to table 2 or table 3, and there will be something. But it is an ongoing issue, and a lot of it, again, has to do with the format. Well, in a Swiss system, which we continue to promote around here, everything is timed out. You do get that ability to have those players come to the table immediately when one has ended. Adam, for the first time ever, you saw a Garlando tournament last week run on the Swiss system. When a match was done on table 1, in some cases, the next round of players was there waiting immediately, jumping on that table.
They were on the table. No, they moved. Yeah, it was
but to your point, Dan, absolutely, we do our best to coordinate with tournament operators, with that tournament director, with the people up there running the show in order to keep things moving. And it is an ongoing challenge to do so. And a lot of it is format related. A lot of it is the fact that never in this country have the forfeiture rules been implemented, to the degree that they have been overseas. If you don't show up to your match in 5 or 10 minutes overseas, you're out, you're forfeited. And they learn quickly, and they show up, and they do show up consistently over there. Whereas in this country, we don't seem to. We take our time to get there. But to your point, yes, it's our goal to continue to make sure that we get the best entertainment on table number 1 on a consistent basis.
I enjoy the show and appreciate the efforts that you put forth, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Shu.
Dan, it's great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in to FoosTalk Live.
Wow, we're like a real show here. We've had two callers. Well, 1.5, I suppose. But we had the great Dan Schumacher, Kentucky State Hall of Famer, outstanding player, and then we had some guy from Toronto.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Which was great. Which broke the night.
He asked us if we knew who won the Euro, which I thought was it's like a test for us, wasn't it?
He was drunk.
I really didn't know that was like
no way.
Right?
Oh, come on, Mark. He wasn't drunk. He was just no. Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, so guys, I got to say, this tonight was a lot of fun. It's been a while since we did an Ask Me Anything feature, and and of course, this is a great acid test, if you pardon the pun, for Adam.
Wow,
integrating.
I don't even know how that's a pun, but okay. Every time I talk to Mark, it's like acid.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Acid in the sense
keep on trucking.
That wasn't an insult.
It would normally be corrosive, right?
That was not an insult. I'm just saying.
I'm having a flashback.
I start off the show by misusing the word platitudes.
You did say platitudes, and I didn't want to bring it up on air, but it was not good.
It's not a good word.
No.
It was a wrong word. Maybe
it was bad.
Maybe it was a Freudian. I don't know.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. That you're again doing that wrong too. But okay, whatever.
We do need to,
I knew it right away.
I know
we're having way too much fun. Much to the dismay of our listeners. Sorry, folks.
Well, Adam, we do need to get to know you better. Now we need to know: are you a grammar Nazi? Is that in your repertoire?
No, I'm not. No, I keep it to myself. I only bring it up if I can make fun of Mark.
Oh, he's quiet. He's quietly douchey about it.
I'm
he's
very quietly douchey.
Judging.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up 15 years later.
Mark, I've got to say, I've worked with Adam a significant amount of the time now, and I know there's been a few occasions where I've misused a word or said something incorrectly. Yeah. He has not called me on it.
No,
not
really?
once has he called me on it. And I know he's thinking it. And he's got a list of like 4 or 5.
No, I do.
Maybe it was a test. I misused the word. I immediately knew it when I did it, and I was waiting for somebody to comment on it.
No.
Adam, you failed, Adam. You failed.
No, you can't turn it around on me, Mark.
No, I just did.
No, you can't. No, I do not accept it.
Finally, some controversy.
Yeah, this is wrong. I will not be okay with this.
I reject you.
All right, if anybody can call in the next 30 seconds with an Ask Me Anything, and I need a good one, you'll get a free T-shirt. 30 seconds. Count them out starting now.
Free T-shirt.
Can I call in?
Wow.
I want a
T-shirt.
Yeah, how do you rank a free T-shirt?
All right, let's see if they come.
Yeah,
we did a good one. A good one.
Ask me
anything.
Shipping.
Here we go.
I will pay for the shipping on this.
All right.
I will answer anything.
Anything. Wow. Okay, here we go. We do have a call.
Have you ever been with another man?
So for a T-shirt, welcome to FoosTalk Live and Ask Me Anything. So you're on the line with us. Where are you calling from?
I'm coming from the east side of San Jose.
Oh, I recognize that voice.
Oh. What's up, fellas? This is Serge.
What's up, buddy?
Gosh, man.
How you doing?
You know what? I've been meaning to call. Every time I hear you guys' show, man, it's like, man, should I call in? You know what? Finally, let me call in, say what's up to everybody.
Nice.
How you guys doing?
Good, buddy. Great to hear your voice, man.
We need you as a guest, dude. We need to right now. There's only like 5 minutes left of the show, but you need to be.
No. I'm terrible about being a guest, man. Don't ever have me as a guest.
Why? Get all quiet.
No. Hey, you know what? I just want to comment on Adam, man. You're doing a good job, dude. Seriously, I listened to some of the commentary on the Foos videos, man. You had a little color. I think you're actually better than Mark.
Oh
yeah! Don't make me blush.
I'm just kidding, Tara.
I think he's better than me, Serge. I think he's better.
No. Let's not put this bar up too high here. Come on. I appreciate the effusive praise, and I used effusive correctly there, Mark. But the point is.
Here's my question.
You got a NorCal complimenting a SoCal. How about
that? Sweet. I don't get that.
Love it.
No, honestly, you're doing a great job, Adam. Great job, brother.
Thank you, man.
But I do have a question for Jim Stevens, or for the Inside Foos, actually. Actually, a suggestion. Actually, I actually talked to Mark about this. As I'm watching the whatever's being streamed on the table number 1, and I'm looking at the refs, They have a phone. They're doing a time, right? And you can see them looking at their camera or their phone, and they see the time. Jim, you ever thought about maybe putting that timer onto the screen, like a caption on caption?
Cool, for sure.
And
sort of an app that would put it on screen.
Yeah. So I mean, something to think about. I think that'd be pretty cool. The people can see what's going on within the time, what kind of strategy, what time they're shooting, what time they're passing, just to kind of see what they're doing on certain time tendencies and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
And I could do a quick voiceover for that one. And it's now an Inside Foos timeout.
There you go.
Push a button.
There you go.
No, I think it's a great idea, Serge. We'd have to figure out the logistics of it, but it would be interesting in so many different ways to kind of ascertain, and I use that correctly, I think, whether a guy is averaging 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds of possession time on his 3-route or whatever, and being able to illustrate that in real time to the viewer.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
You're so right about that, because that, and I mentioned that when we were watching that weekend, when I saw that showing up on the screen, it really changed my perception of what was happening, because it was really making me like reassess the relative concept of time and what I know to be 10 seconds and what's actually literally 10 seconds.
Right.
You reassessed your relative understanding of time. Wow, that is.
But you know what? Also, I mean, you can customize.
It was huge. I can actually float.
Platitudes.
You can float. Oh,
yeah, good. I flew here by myself.
And boy, are your arms tired. Hey, Sergey, it's great to hear from you. It's funny. I just this week commentated a match from 2009 with you playing. I guess it was with Eddie Gartman at the Foosball Master Tour against Chris Doobie and Dana Marr in that match, which you may or may not remember, but it was a lot of fun to see you back in 2009. Always a lot of fun to commentate your matches. You are one of the most exciting players in the game. That match that you guys played against Kevin Romero and Terry Rue was epic. Just phenomenal. Yeah. And so much of that came from you. You were sort of the guy. You're cheering every shot you make. You're into it. You're competing. It's just so much fun to watch. So thank you for that.
Co-signed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for commentating. At that time, just being the pandemic and stuff, and then telling myself, "Wow, I'm actually here at a foosball tournament," and that was another reason to keep fighting. It's like, man, I gotta make the most of it, and then seeing Mark, of course, he talked about it earlier. Just our little talks and stuff. So it was just a combination of everything. But I do appreciate all you guys commentating our matches and stuff, and putting it up there for everybody to see.
I've also noticed is just how good you are at acting like you're listening to Mark. You're really, really good at that.
Well, what's funny is Mark's story was that you guys spent an hour or two huddled together, and you said his little help that he gave you or whatever. So, what an ambassador!
Do we want to keep our little talk a secret till after the Worlds?
Oh, not at all, man. Let's put it out there.
Oh, let's save it. Let's save it for a show.
Yeah, I would love to have you back.
Yeah, love to have you. For sure. All right, guys. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Serge. All right. All right, Kay. Bye.
T-shirts on the way.
All right. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Mark, you got a T-shirt you could send him?
Yeah, I'm wearing it.
Yeah. Hey, how about that? I think we've set an all-time record. We've had 2.5 callers tonight, which is outstanding.
Go figure.
Yeah.
No, I got to say, in especially after watching Serge play, I have not seen someone play with that kind of heart in a long time.
Isn't that something?
Wow, it's just amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah. And we've seen it time and time again. I can think back on 4 or 5 different performances over the years from him, unexpected to some degree, although they shouldn't be. But it's all heart. It's all just competitiveness. And it's just he puts it all on the table, and it's just awesome to watch.
Yep, one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, no, we're grateful to say the least. Well, guys, one of the other things that we want to mention, of course, before we go, and we do want to wrap this up with what we mentioned last week, of course, is that there's been a lot of, shall we say, very generous donations provided for the Kickstarter campaign for InsideFoos.com. And last week, of course, we mentioned those who donated generously, our thank yous, and of course our bronze level. This evening we're going to finish off the show with our silver, gold, and platinum level. But to all those people who've taken the time to really, to really put some cash behind how they feel about this game and donate to the Kickstarter campaign. What can we say? I mean, they're just so incredibly
From the
generous.
bottom of my heart, certainly thank you to all of you. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And before we get to that, do you guys have any parting shots before we say goodnight?
Go ahead, Mark.
I won the top 5. That's all.
You did not. Buddy. You did not. You didn't even take second. I'm pretty sure I was hit second. But first time ever, Mark finishes third. No, I'm looking forward to going to the beach all week. I love the beach. It's great. It's a great place to be. I'm also looking forward to the Bardo Hearn celebration coming up here in 2 weeks, something that is so close to my heart, of course. And this year, we're going to celebrate 55 fallen Foosers.
Wow.
And, of course, maybe the greatest fallen Fooser of all, Joe Kuntz, the man behind the Bardo.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to be there live. We're going to bring you all the action. We're going to bring you the Fallen Fooser ceremony, which we did remotely last year. And you can watch that at Inside Foos TV on YouTube. But we're going to be bringing that to you, about an hour and a half, 2-hour ceremony on Saturday night.
Nice.
I know Adam's going to be there. I know Mark might be there. But looking forward to that in a couple of weeks.
And right here at FoosTalk Live, we will be bringing some coverage with that as well that weekend, more than likely on Sunday evening. So be listening.
And real quick, Jim, which house are you? Slytherin? Hufflepuff?
No, I'm a Gryffindor. I'm Gryffindor.
Right.
How can I not be? How can I not?
Okay. All right.
I'm Slytherin, by the way.
No, you're not.
You are.
No, you're Ravenclaw.
No. I was thinking Hufflepuff.
You're Hufflepuff. You know, famous Hufflepuff? Me neither.
No, I'm going to give Mark Slytherin on this one. I am.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I am definitely Gryffindor. I'm all in on Gryffindor.
Okay.
All right, nerds. Let's wrap it up.
Mark,
I love you guys.
what have you
Love
got?
you too, buddy.
What wisdom can you part with tonight, Mark?
I'm Slytherin, and
Slytherin.
I'm not.
That's that.
What else? I'm gonna put my kids to bed.
Yeah.
And I love you guys, and I'll see you next Sunday.
Oh, next Sunday it is indeed. Mark Torres and Jim Stevens and Adam. What would you like to finish off with?
I don't know. Hug everybody you love.
Peace and love and kumbaya.
That is so sweet.
All right.
I've had 2 of these IPAs and I don't even know where the living room is anymore.
Oh no.
I hope you know where the bathroom is.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well,
it doesn't matter.
Just take your pants off wherever you are. You're good.
That's an indication.
Why would they be off or on?
Okay, well, guys, I think that's an indication we are done for this is a fantastic show, by the way. This Ask Me Anything thing is a lot of fun every once in a while, but we will get back to regular guests and regular features very, very soon. And thank you so much for tuning in.
I think
tonight.
Zeke Mullen's coming on next week, I believe.
Oh yeah, there you go, Zeke Mullins. We're gonna dig him out along with Slytherin. Slytherin will be with us too. But at any rate, let's get together again next week, and please stick around here because now we're about to present to you those fantastic donations, those donators for the Inside Foos Kickstarter campaign. And thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
We'll catch you next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
The team at Inside Foos will always be grateful to our fans, subscribers, and especially those who pledged whatever they could to the Inside Foos Kickstarter campaign. Your pledge is used to replace and add to aging equipment, innovate the presentation of tournaments, upgrade our software platforms, support typical day-to-day expenses, and deliver a high-quality product back to our community, the way Inside Foos has done it for 28 years. It's time now for InsideFoos.com and FoosTalk Live to give a shout-out to our generous donors. We begin with those who contributed $100 or more. Thank you to our silver level donors to the Inside Foos Kickstarter campaign, including Athena, Teddy J. Kruger, Tim Lynch, Steve Murray, David Cleall Hill, Brittany McDonald, Bert Wilkinson, Miles Yoshisato, Jay Jungles, Daniel Brent Holm, Britt Leisky, Terry Rue, Zach Frost, Tommy Brewer, Next, we recognize those who donated $150 or more. Here's to the generosity of our gold level members, including Adam Horridge, Brian Phelan, Duque Nicholas Claude, James Dumas, Reese Roberts, Bones Malone, Rex Bennett, and Healthcare Futurists. Now, we want to give a hearty shout out to those who donated $250 or more. Here's to the platinum members of the Inside Foos Kickstarter campaign, including Stephen Jaconet, Tim Hageman, Joe Hesslinger, Dave Corrington, Jamie Linz, and Sam Flaris. With 99 contributors to the Inside Foos Kickstarter campaign, we are overwhelmed with gratitude. Keep listening as we continue to bring our supporters into the spotlight through InsideFoos.com and FoosTalk Live. FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos, all rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, 518 Prince, Foosballers the Movie, Foosball Clubs USA, and the USTSO. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live. In the meantime,
we'll see you foozin'.